Hello and welcome to my recording. I thought I'd record a little bit of an update about where I am with TSN Cosmos and what I've been working on in terms of the TSN Cosmos script for the new version of the game. In front of you, I thought I'd present you first. This is on GitHub. This is the project tracker that I've got. I created this only the other night, so I thought I'd show it off. And it just shows some of the ideas that I've got going on. I've got a nice big done list of everything that I've been working on, including things like adding special weapons functions, creating the primary consoles, getting terrain in there, handling different clients connected. I'll show you some of these in this video. Over here I've got some suggestions where other people have given me a couple of suggestions. This one by Alad from the TSN, talking about a warp bubble, so I'll look at that in the future. In progress, I've been looking at developing these patrol missions. I might talk about that in a later update. I've been working on ship-to-ship docking as well. That's kind of already in, but I just need to make sure it works. And then I've got a growing to-do list. So this is where I am so far with my to-do list. Something that I think I'm probably going to work on next after I've done these patrols is probably going to be the captain's console. Get that set up and then maybe look at this fuel collection system again, because it's only in a very basic way. And then my future projects here, some of these are waiting for updates to Artemis Cosmos, some extra things that need to come online before I'm able to put these on, detecting when player ships are destroyed and managing player ship damage before I manage to get life pods in. Seeing if Tom adds a GM console. I keep pestering him for it. Tom, if you're listening, add a GM console, please. We are looking forward to that one as soon as I can start implementing that. I might be able to do something rudimentary at the moment, but I wanted to wait until there was something official because I know it'd be a lot better than what I can create. Adding a custom mesh, that's something I need to follow up. Tetra from the TSN has created a custom mesh for these jump nodes that we want to use. I've tried adding it in, there's a couple of bugs, so I just need to follow that up. So until I've managed to follow that up, that's not moving into the to-do list. And then special access to jump nodes, that's going to kind of come online once I manage to get jump nodes themselves working. So this is my, like I say, this is my progress tracker, and seeing what's coming up, what I've got on right now, what I'm working on, and then any extra suggestions that come up with just in conversation, any ones that I think sound a really good idea and I want to add on there in the future if I've got time, we'll start working on these a bit. Right, so that's where I wanted to start off. If I get rid of that, this is Artemis Cosmos. It's a test version still. Tom's still building this game, so it's incomplete. I'll start with that first. But it is coming on really nicely. I've been enjoying writing this TSN script for it so far. I've really got to grips with it. So let's show you some of the things I've been doing. If I start the server and start a client and connect. So here on the right hand side I've got a blank client screen. There's no script running at the moment, so nothing is displayed. And on the left is the server screen, and you can see I've got a couple of different mission scripts. And it's this TSN Cosmos script that I've got here. This one's like a backup script, and that's what I've been working on. So we're going to take a look at that. And if I open it up, again, nothing comes on the server screen. I'm trying to make it so it's independent of server screen. But over here, we've got a couple of options. I think in the future I'm going to add a couple of graphics on here just to make it look more interesting. But this is your basic client console. All right. So I've added these in. This is part of the mission script itself. Giving a datapad ID, that's the actual client number that you get assigned. Then there's a console, and there's no console assigned. And then it's possible to select a ship, and it's possible to select your console. So I've coded these, and then it's possible to say that you're ready to go. So that's all in so far, and I've also been able to get it so that you could deselect those options. But one particular console that I've worked a lot on that we'll need is this Fleet Command console. So this is where somebody who's running the game or running the division can log in, and they can start configuring the game a little bit more. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open another console up here, and I'm going to make this one a client console. Alright, so you can see client console on the left, and this one's going to be a fleet command console. So if I enter the fleet command code, which will change, and click enter, this suddenly gives me some more options for the fleet commander. Not all these are finished, but some of them are. So the reassign and the log out, I need to go back and I need to recode. I changed all this recently in the back of how it was working. But this first one, the division order of battle, allows you to bring other ships online. And you can see is on the fleet command console, as I add these in, the ships change over here on the client console. So what the other players see alters here, but what the fleet commander sees is the possible list. So let's have the TSN Horizon Online. Again, all these buttons are part of the TSN Sandbox script. They're all coded in. Even this back button is coded in to be able to change between these menus. Assign captains. Eventually what we'll have here is when you click on that button, there'll be a list of the clients, and I'll be able to click on those and say which one is going to be a captain, and that'll change this console into a captain's console and be able to configure the ship in a little bit more depth. All right. For now then, we can go to division status. I'm going to have status messages reading out here about the ships, which I want to add in. But it also lets this fleet command console choose a ship and a position, and they've also got this deploy division. So it's completely independent of the server. You don't need anything server side to be able to deploy the division at all. It can come from the client now, which is a great addition. So over here, let's get TSN Horizon, and if I can select that. I don't know why I can't select that. Let's try and disconnect and reconnect. There we go, TSN Horizon, and I'll take a weapons console on this one. Click ready, and then we can deploy the division. So on my right is the helm console. These widgets, by the way, they're called widgets that are displayed on screen, and if I hover over here and press Control 1, you can see these boxes that flash. This is what Tom's added so that we can customize our consoles a little bit. So each one of these boxes is a widget, and inside that widget is displayed the information for that widget. In the script, you can choose which widgets go on screen. So I've chosen for the helm console, they've got this main screen control, which will change the main screen control. They've got an initiate dock button, which is request dock. They've got the 3D view down here. They've got 2D view, they've got ship data, throttle, and helm movement. Something that we were talking about was whether we could define as script writers where these would be positioned on that console so that we could kind of dictate if we wanted them in a particular position. But that's not been implemented in game yet, but it's not something that particularly that I've been looking at anyway. But these widgets, I can move them around. So if I wanted that down here, my 3D display up here, I could do that. This is what clients are allowed to do. This is all inbuilt into the game. So none of this is part of my script at all. This is what Tom has been creating for us. So there we go. Helms console I've kept fairly basic. I've just put these widgets on so that as a Helms officer, you've got plenty to go at, all your usual controls. There are going to be additional buttons at the bottom, and I'll show you how I've been coding extra buttons. And yeah, this is some of the terrain that spawned in. So TSN, DS111. TSN signifies the side it's on, the side that it's on, and the DS111 obviously is its name. So that's the helm console. Over here is the weapons console. They've got their classic shields up, shield down. You notice I put that on the weapons console, but I've not put it on the helm, because in the TSN I thought, you know what, weapons could control those shields, but shields could go on the helm if I added it into the script. But you can see again, it's another widget, so you can choose in the script what widgets go on there. There's an internal view. Ignore that for now because that's on a different screen. But there's this 2D view, ship data, and the weapons control. So it's kept fairly basic at the moment. And then at the bottom, these two buttons are scripted. So the first one is targeting, which is this weapons control. And then something really cool is in the script, you can change these widgets mid-game. So if I click on weapons control, it takes me to a new screen. This is a grid that I was just playing around with, but I thought I could have some kind of weapons nodes on there, and you could click on it, and then you get a slider, and you could increase power to that. To alter your weapons profile a little bit, or like a tractor beam, click on it and activate it so that you could have a tractor beam and switch off your other beams and things. I've added these two buttons that work. First one's a safety. This safety switch is so that you cannot target a friendly base. So here we've got a friendly base, it's on the same side as me, I can't target it. So no matter how I click on it, I can't target that. But if I go into weapons control and I switch the safety off, and then I go back into targeting, I can now target it. So it just gives that little bit of a safety barrier there. Then I've got in weapons control as well, something else I worked on was auto targeting. This one was like an option, and I was kind of experimenting when it gets to ships with different size crews. So if you've only got 2 crew on a much smaller vessel, like a light shuttle fighter or a light interceptor ship, you might want to put on automatic targeting, and what will happen is instead of having to select here, the ship will auto target the nearest target within a certain range. So if I fly in there we go, auto targeted. And then there should be another object down here. This is a gate. I need to fix this. This is where the jump node would be. You see the targeting's gone off, and then you get new target there. So we've got auto targeting in there as well, and it worked pretty well. I'm quite happy with the effect that it's got. And it just means, for example, if your weapons officer needed to step off because they're in weapons control and they're trying to configure some kind of frequencies, or they're trying to bring the tractor beam down, or they're trying to manage something with, I don't know, some kind of teams inside there, or moving torpedoes about or deploying shuttles, whatever they might be doing, it means that they can stick auto targeting on and it'll take care of itself. I thought that might be quite a fun little feature, as well with the safety, having that so that if you had a cluster of enemies, then you're not going to accidentally hit a friendly, or having it deliberate where it's like that friendly vessel's acting suspiciously, we need to do something about it. Switch the safety off and engage it. So I thought it might add some nice roleplay features. I did think I could add all sorts of extra sliders on here, enables and disables for different types of weapon systems, power sliders, things like that, just to mix it up and make it interesting. So that's the helm and the weapons that I've coded so far. And then let's have a look at engineering. Engineering I've kept fairly basic. So here we go. I've not moved any of these widgets around because I've not really touched it, but you can see I can reposition things. The grid object list is a list of everything that I can spawn on this grid. Let's put the data up here because I'm used to that. And this is a really cool thing I think about Cosmos, because you can really customize it to what you're used to or what you want. So those are the heat controls. These are the actual engine controls. Go like that. There we go. And those are my heat sliders. So I've not really done much with the engineering console apart from set up the basic bits and pieces on it so that an engineer can do something. The one slider that I have added is this FCS control. And if you boost up the FCS control, and then you have your weapons officer going forward, your helms officer going forward, then what will happen is we'll start regaining energy. So you can see the energy tick there, but there we go, it starts adding energy. And the FCS control is a multiplier, so it will multiply the amount of energy added. It's not coded properly yet. You can see the energy's gotten right up above 1,000. And I want to tweak the values and things, but it's there, it's in, it works. and it's nice what it is now, and I can just tweak the values in the background. Let's have a look at the science console. This is one where I've probably done the most work, I would say. So here's my science console. I've gone with the main science screen here. So this is a different 2D view because it's specifically a science 2D view. You've got an object list down here. This is another one of Tom's widgets, so we can filter out objects that are TSN only, objects that are active objects, so it'll get rid of that nebula. So yeah, we've got all these objects. You can select the target on the science console. It gives you the range, gives you the angle. Select the other target. When you select enemy targets, you get additional information down here about its damage, about its shield strength, and things like that. You can also, I don't think that we've got any close by, but there's some asteroids. You can select asteroids, which is interesting. So it might be like in the future you can scan asteroids for certain kinds of resources. Or you could scan a nebula for a certain kind of resource or something, see what type of nebula it is. But that'll be something that I'd look at another time. If we go to warp here, it should bring the ship back. There we go. Next up, I had navigation. So in the navigation tab, again, this is like another custom one. I added a drop-down menu so that you could go to a particular thing and you could go, right, I want to navigate to this gate, and it'll tell me where that gate is. I want to navigate to Finmore Oasis. It tells me which direction to fly for that. Because this is open space and it's infinite, then having these markers to be able to navigate places, I think is going to be really important. Like, we're in the Finmore system when you can navigate to the Finmore Oasis. Let's activate the nav beacon. Oh look, there's an asteroid. You can click and you can get data of an asteroid, range, angle, things like that. Alright, so yeah, that's the navigation console. Get rid of those. Drop out of warp. And then the last one I've been working on is sensor control. So if I do that, the only function on here so far is this ping. If I click that ping, then what it does is it puts nav points down of everything that's close by. If it's friendly, it turns them blue. If it's unknown, it makes it white and it gives it a designation. So unknown 1, for example. And you can see that's down there. That's the gate, which was set to unknown. So if I turn down there, and then the ping times out after a certain amount of time. So it is like a center ping. It also sets the position based on that moment. So for example, if this unknown was a moving enemy that was flying in this direction, the second time you ping, the marker might be over here. So you'd be able to start telling like which direction they're moving in, or that it is a moving target or something like that. It's only out to a certain range, but it's a much bigger range than your science scan at the moment. If I drop out of warp here, what else is there? Oh, communications. So I did a lot of work on science to get this up and functioning. It's kind of one of the first consoles I've been working on. The other one I've worked on is communications. So this communications console, I might put some 2D view or something like that so you can see it. But if we go to DS11, these faces are cool. So this face is generated by Artemis Cosmos, and you can put it in. But what I've added are these buttons. So you've got a transmit authorization code and request status. So for request status, it comes up in this feed. So in comms, you've got the face, you've got the object list, you've got the comms control, and you've got the comms waterfall up here. So requesting status, this is all scripted of what they'll say and what their status is, and it's just simply a readout of the different things. But then if you want to dock at that station, so if I move within range, the docking code was something that I took out of one of Tom's scripts, and I tweaked and added bits to it. So I can't be credited for the docking code on this one. It's definitely Tom's code is that. But if I try and initiate dock, nothing happens, because what you've got to first do is you've got to request authorization to dock. So you transmit the code and you can get docking permission, and now we can dock. When we're docked, we'll replenish energy, and we'll get all our ordnance back, and then we can undock by moving away. And then we should be able to initiate dock again. So this is kind of, part of this was testing out whether we could set up authorization codes for stopping somewhere, but also for like logging into jump nodes, so that you'd have to get authorization to log into it. You can see now the authorization, I'm going to have to get that authorization again to be able to redock. So it adds a nice little bit of roleplay. You cannot dock unless you've got authorization. And then the other bit's like, you cannot target that station because it's on your side unless you disable the safety device on your ship, and then you can shoot it. So that's everything that I've worked on so far. I think I'll leave the update at that. I've got lots of other features. If I go back to my project list here, so you can see I've got lots of other ideas and lots of other features. See, a leash for you is a joke one, but we've got let's see, Science Console Mark II. I wanted to add a deep scan function, and I wanted to add an internal grid of the scanned ships. That one I think I might actually have to wait until future projects, because I don't think there's the code ready for that from the actual Artemis Cosmos game. Sensor Ping Mark II. I wanted to allow like the range that the ping would happen to be configured on the on a slider. So instead of just clicking ping, you could have a slider and say it's out to 1 million K, or it's down to 1,000 K, and it will ping that area around you, something like that. Recreate Promethean system. Promethean system is like the home of the 4th Light Division, so I definitely wanted to get that in there. Adding different jump point types. I should be able to do that with like drifting jump points that have gates and things. Upgrading the fuel collection system. Adding the captain's console was assigning clients as captains so that they could activate additional subsystems. They could configure the crew. So by that I mean the ones that appear on the grids, like DAMCON teams and medical teams. And then also managing connected clients, so being able to kick a client from a particular console, or to be able to assign a client to a particular console or something like that, so that they're able to do that on their ship without having to contact like the fleet command, or having to contact whoever's running the server. So I wanted to add those extra functions. And then there'll be more functions in as well. There'll be a Captain's Console Mark II with things like, I don't know what might go in there. Renaming the ship, reconfiguring the ordnance, things like that. So yeah, that's everything. I hope it was interesting, and I'll try and do a couple more of these videos and keep people updated as to how the TSN Cosmos script is developing. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you next time.